All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank everybody for coming. Good crowd today. Lots of new faces. Really appreciate it. This is the Dallas Salesforce Developers User Group, possibly the DFW Salesforce Developer User Group. We're still looking into that. My name is Paul McCollum. Ame and I are running the show. I've got the contact information for all of us here. If you want to know anything about it, I'm going to be very brief, and sorry for not stuttering, through too much of this, because we have a lot of things to get through today. 3 speakers. Moyez, founder of the group and still right here with us. He will be presenting today here in a few minutes as well, along with Nathan Shulman. Nathan, you have the ability to speak and talk. Are you panelist able?
Hello.
Okay, good. You're still set. All right. Well, sorry for skipping to the end, but please reach out to any of us for anything, ideas on sessions. Always open to hearing other ideas. Would appreciate it if you would get on the Twitter horn for us. Every month I craft a custom pre-built tweet for you guys to grab with your phones. And the trick is, if you're on camera and I don't see you grabbing your phones, I'm going to shame you publicly on the call. So get to it, Ryan. I saw you sitting there.
There's no text.
Okay.
There's no text on your thing.
There's no, it should be a bit.ly link.
Yeah, it is. And then it goes to no text on a tweet.
Well, that stinks. Well, I'll have to fix that while you're talking.
I'm writing one.
I had one.
All right.
I must have just broken it. All right. Well, sorry about that. Well, let's pretend like everything's going really
Okay.
well. But please hop on Twitter, Dallas Ohana, and let everybody know you're here and what you're hearing. We organize the group based on stacks. So always looking for people to champion technologies and stacks to bring ideas and content forward for the group. So if you think you'd like to be a part of this and be on the team, please reach out. I think news, I probably did a pretty bad job this month, so there's only a little bit of news. Waqas Nasir, who is not here today, his team's represented, usually handles security and Apex, and he's got a monthly session for security tips for us. They've been good so far. We've had 2 of them, so hoping to pick that back up next month. Still looking for in-platform dev. Nana Gregg is taking over new and existing functionality so that we make sure we're constantly educated on things that are coming up so that we don't, as devs, reinvent the wheel. So, and Moyez, I think you hopefully will have an update on the nonprofit stand-up, if anything, when we get to you. Really would love somebody to be on the on flows. That's a fun one. For owning updates and keeping track and keeping us informed on what's going on in flows. So always something new happening there. Anyway, our community representatives for Women in Tech, Meighan Brodkey, here tonight. Meighan, anything Women in Tech related before you get on your main session?
So in terms of women in tech, again, similar to you, Paul, I did a horrible job with news this time. I do not have any specific women in tech updates at this point in time. I do know that there is this new group that is out there that's doing webinars, and I totally forgot their name. I'm awful, but they have one that is coming up on the 26th, which I think is tomorrow, the day after, sometime this week, and super excited to be going to that. But I can make sure that Paul gets that link and we can put it out with the session.
Okay. And then Greg Kralik, are you here today? Didn't see him pop in. I don't know, Jade, if you had any updates from Maravis or on the military side. I know you and Meighan both also participate in that space.
Yeah, we're always looking for mentors. So if anyone can be a mentor for the Maravis group, that would be great. Maravis is an organization that helps veterans and their spouses transition from military life to civilian life. It can be quite a challenge because some of the occupations don't exactly translate over. So we're looking for all the mentors that we can. Thank you.
I've got a little bit of updates on Maravis too. So there's the opportunity to join the Alpha Teach for Salesforce. It's the new platform Outbuilder class that'll have more than 2 days of full new material with a deep dive into automation using Flow. The training will be delivered by a Salesforce instructor, so participating is going to be super fun and with Salesforce training. And the sessions are going to be Monday through Friday, September 27th to October 1st, and they're going to be virtual. If you're interested, reach out to Meredith, see about coaching and see about being involved.
Great. That's great to hear. They're a great group. All right, updates and announcements. So a lot of stuff. The usual Trailblazer group calendar is up there. That's the calendar formatted user group topic list and event list. So if you've got free time, head over to the calendar and find all the virtual meetings that are going on. They have their topics listed, so you can just pick something and go participate and be part of a group, regardless of where you're at. If you're looking for a job, seeking job, having jobs to offer, please do so over chat. I have the new YouTube channel set up, and I also have a new LinkedIn group set up for us to connect over. So those should be findable out on LinkedIn. I'm not sure about the LinkedIn group, whether that's going to survive or do much for us more than be just an area for chat or sharing job notes. But the YouTube channel is up, and 4 of our past events are up there. I'm in the process of doing some editing and getting those videos all uploaded, and that will continue over the next month or two. Jitender's, I just put yours up a couple of days ago, and that was one of the, I think, the first that we loaded. So that LWC testing has already got me some feedback. People are happy to see that out there. It's a rare thing, and it was a great LWC intro. I had 2 pieces of news. There's the VS Code extension for the query builder from Salesforce has gone GA. You can get at that piece, add that into VS Code, and it has a very graphical query builder functionality in it now. And that got released a couple of days ago. And then tomorrow, Texas Daydreaming, like this was what I was going to bring up. They've decided to do a virtual instead of the in-person for Texas Dreaming. So if you want any help setting that up, I can put you in touch with the people who run the Texas Dreaming and see what kind of opportunities there are to share resources. And I'd be happy to help too if you want to get upstate dreaming going again. But anyway, that's tomorrow from 4 to 6:30 p.m. and that's texasdreaming.org.
One other thing about the Ohana Dallas, we did make you all a private channel on Ohana Slack too, if anybody wants to use that and utilize it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Thank you, Meighan. I got to get that link out here for us. Ame, sorry to run forward. Do you have any other news to add to this? I know you've been heads down working. So
yeah, so not big news, but just wanted to say, something to bring up in this group is I think Salesforce released quite a few good resources overall. So the Salesforce Enterprise Pocket Guide is now available for us to refer. That's a really great resource, which has very great links on videos, some of the partner learning course links, as well as some of the links that kind of go over overall the architectural roadmap and how to plan for that. And if you are interested in multi-cloud engagements, I think that you will love this resource. And I think there are quite a few announcements coming through. There's a lot of buzz and discussions around Salesforce Plus. That's the new streaming service. I'll be really keen on knowing what happens next and how to use that in future. But that's something coming up, and there is quite a few discussions online. And in addition to that, I think quite a few innovative ideas coming through. I'm really looking forward to next month for Dreamforce, which is from 21st to 23rd, I believe, or 24th, I believe. But really looking forward to that. So that's just high level updates, not great news, but really interesting bits for us to take home.
Were you still planning to organize a watch party?
I am, but I don't see that option in Bevy, and that's something that we can take offline. There's something weird about it, but yeah, I'll look into it.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully look for that to come out as an event. We may just host it here on Zoom or something like that, and get together and leave a Zoom meeting open so we can get in and watch it and discuss. So anyway,
for sure.
Great. Okay. I think that was it. Oh, the only other thing I did have, and Moyez, I meant to reach out to you. through kind of partnership with UTD and Ame's mentorship program, and Lawrence Reed has actually stepped up to help organize and deliver. We've started a Dev Up program for helping transition either admins or people new to Salesforce into the career of development. So if you're trying to jump in from not knowing Salesforce into becoming a developer, I'm putting together a series. It's now 7 sessions of big picture pieces of core coding fundamentals that you need to dive into and know before you try and walk into either doing like Apex Code or LWC. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to anybody, but I've run into a bunch of developers that, without formal training, missed some core concepts. So I started to try and build a list of those core concepts, and I'd love your feedback on those. I'm going to try and send that to you and see if there's anything else you would add to that besides what I have. But that's going on. The first one of those I gave Saturday, and I'll be trying to schedule those some more here in the future. And that may be the form that Salesforce for Youth takes going forward. Next month, Jitendra is here this month. We're glad to have you here.
And really quick, one last announcement. Go to CTA Salesforce Saturday on September 25th. It's having a session on the relationship between devs and architects led by Jason Burke, and it's going to be pretty awesome on how to improve your projects working together and becoming a power team. So just to throw that one out there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, no. It's another group and Meighan and I work with, or I help Meighan with. But yeah, next month, supercharged customer service with digital engagement. And so we'll look at connecting Facebook Messenger chat into code. So anyway, that's should be very exciting. And then Jitendra, anything to tell us about that? You want to wet our whistles with that at all? Yeah, may have caught him eating. All right, so yeah, these are my 6 learning sessions. That slide doesn't need to be in there. And that was supposed to be, anyway. All right, well, so first up, Moyez, you have a quick session on AWS integration. Can I hand it over to you, sir?
Yes, thank you very much. And can you enable my
yes,
screen
moment.
sharing, please? Okay, so while, oh, there it goes. So what I wanted to talk about today, I hope that you see, which of my 2 screens are you seeing? Are you
The
seeing
Salesforce AWS logo, next 10 years.
Okay, good. So here's a topic that I think we all should follow quite closely over the next couple of years. On the surface of it, this announcement that Salesforce had last month about the collaboration with AWS, on the surface of it sounds like, well, it's just another announcement. We've always been able to talk to AWS services and use the S3 bucket from inside of Salesforce. And so why is this such a big deal? And I wanted to kind of dig into this a little bit. And I promise you I won't take more than 10 minutes of your time to kind of explain what my point of view on this is. It is a big deal. It's not a new thing. It's the next step in a progression that we should all understand. So Salesforce and AWS are, in my opinion, are going to be the first next big kind of integration that takes place. And it's not, hey, working through the REST API or the SOAP API. It's not that type of an integration. It's a more seamless integration. Now we saw this originally come about a couple of years back with external objects. Let me click into this while I'm talking. External objects, if you've used it, is kind of, it's an abstraction where you treat data that's external to Salesforce as if it's just another object inside of Salesforce. There's some complication that goes along with it. I'm not going to talk too much about that. There's certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. The original version of their platform was, well, since it's an external object, you can run SQL queries against it, right? And that's pretty amazing if you think about it. You know, if you have an external object, let's say a table or a database sitting in Salesforce, sitting in AWS, to be able to query that with a SQL query, not a SQL query, and have that SQL translated behind the scenes and it gets the data back and you can use it, that's kind of pretty cool, right? And it happens relatively fast. I shouldn't say relatively fast. It happens faster than you would expect. This is the next step in that. If you've set up external objects, you know that it's kind of tricky. You need some sort of OData conversion because that's the only language that Salesforce speaks with the external objects. So you need to kind of mess with that a little bit. But this is the next generation of that, right? It's the ability. I tried to do a complete screen capture here, but if you look at the background here, this is actually inside of Salesforce. And you can directly connect to an S3 bucket by clicking on S3 and just configuring it right inside of Salesforce. So it's, in a sense, it's nothing kind of new, but it's the next step in saying, oh, it's easy for me to connect up to an S3 bucket. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to connect up to a Lambda or an S3 or any one of the other AWS services? And there's three reasons that Salesforce wants to do that. And all of them, I think, are groundbreaking. So they say unleash the power of customer data. What they really mean by this, and I think it's a brilliant idea, is that not all your data that you use necessarily should ever reside inside of Salesforce. Files, for instance, if you've got PDFs that are accumulating inside of Salesforce, they eat up a lot of memory and they just sit there until somebody clicks on them. In today's world, there's not much you can do with a PDF. It's just a blob that sits inside of Salesforce. If you push it off into S3, first of all, your costs drop. With this Connect and with another product called Files Connect, which is a slightly older technology, you can virtualize that, right? It appears to the user as if these files exist inside of Salesforce, but in fact, they exist in another database altogether. This way, we don't need to kind of replicate databases back and forth and keep them in sync. It actually exists on one of the two platforms and the other platform can use it. That really is bigger and sexier and more important than you can imagine. Now you've got one copy of what you're trying to use. If it gets updated, everybody has an updated copy. There's no need for replication. But also from a security standpoint, that's only one kind of threat surface that you have to protect, right? If you've got one place where you keep your PDFs, that's the thing that you protect. You don't have to protect it in 10 different places. That's very important, especially at the enterprise level. Build modern applications faster and easier. We've got two applications right now that are transitioning from external objects and Files Connect to this new AWS integration. And what essentially it is in our case, when you've got a file that's sitting external to Salesforce, how do you cleanse it? How do you make sure that it doesn't contain any viruses? How do you make sure that it doesn't contain any offensive material or any personal identification material? So all those tools that are very natural inside the AWS world now become available to you. So an application sitting inside of Salesforce manages your data that's external. So this is what they're talking about when they say build modern applications. You're no longer restricted to what you can do inside of Salesforce. And finally, the authentication becomes more transparent. You're managing authentication on two different systems inside of Salesforce, inside of AWS. this new product now makes that transition transparent. You don't necessarily have to log into two places. You log into one place and the other one authenticates against that. All three are quite powerful, but I think the top one here, the idea that you can now really live in a world where you're a polyglot corporation. Your data exists in multiple places and your data is no longer siloed. I think this is going to be huge. I simply cannot do it, I can't do it justice in this 2 minutes that I have left. And the modern applications, I think you're going to see a proliferation of applications that will become available to you to manage those things. Here's a quick list. So right now, Salesforce is working on bringing us Voice Connect directly inside of Salesforce. That's going to be their one showcase, their initial showcase app. There's a couple of others here. They've got a Government Cloud Plus. Again, this is using trust across the two platforms. Document automation, I wanted to use this product. It's only available in the healthcare world. So we, in fact, my company T Digital has a similar product that we are deploying now at the enterprise level. So you're going to see a lot of these products come to market, and you're going to be able to use all of those. We've got a new product that is coming to market called Digital Fortress. This is the idea, how do you know that you don't have offensive material stored in your PDFs and in your docs and all these other things that you've just thrown into your S3 database using Files Connect? How do you know that the data is compliant with your company policies? You can read a little bit more about it at tdigital-fortress. And what I want to do next month, once I have access to the AWS connector and its facility inside of Salesforce, I'll do a slightly larger presentation on how to set it up inside of Salesforce. You should get excited about this. I think it's the next big thing that Salesforce is rolling out, and it'll be quite big. We're seeing it with AWS right now. I think we'll see similar things with the other platforms as well. Sorry,
Yeah.
I ran over my 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I am totally with you, Moyez. This is because of the way the multi-tenancy works in Salesforce and the way they do licensing and the way they have things locked down. Opening up the AWS elasticity is going to be enormous, because right now, having to do nodes and dynos and mix and match all of the different types of licensing, just to do simple solutions. And sometimes you have to buy, well, we're doing one, but we're doing it 30,000 times. Well, we have to charge you for 30 million because that's all we have. We only have that license. And getting access to this granular elasticity is going to be, I think, massive for enterprise projects with Salesforce.
And not only are they going to allow it, right? The whole idea is to make it easy so you don't need a developer to connect up to one of those AWS services.
Well, that's just crazy. We want them to want developers still.
Yes, I agree.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's great. Looking forward to that. Let me know whenever you when you're ready to talk deeper into that. I'm sure we will be fighting people off with a stick when a presentation comes out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Nathan, are you ready for your 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
You should be able to present.
Okay. Sorry, Moyez, I'm shutting off your screen. Okay, let's see if this shows up on the right monitor. Oh yeah.
Nathan Plus.
You like that? That's what I put in when I have to sign up for like DevWorks and stuff. It's asked for my company. I say Nathan Plus.
Oh, that's not doesn't have to do with the Salesforce Plus, the new streaming.
Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Salesforce Plus, Nathan Plus. All right. So do you all remember this time This was like 5 years ago when everybody was in Classic and they had buttons with JavaScript that did all this fancy stuff. And Salesforce is like, please use quick actions. We're moving to these new this new way to make different things happen. So in 2016, these quick actions were introduced, and Salesforce gave all these reasons to switch. And I thought this was kind of fascinating. It's just trivia at this point, I guess, but we've heard many customers are reluctant to migrate to Lightning experience because of the missing JavaScript button functionality. Well, they came up with a lot of different ways to replace those, and what just got released was LWC quick actions, which I think is really cool. I mean, it seems like the right way to do dynamic actions when you click something. And what you need to do is when you make an LWC component, you have to configure the metadata correctly. And I'm going to walk you through how to make a quick action. Since I have a short amount of time, I'm just going to show you what I built. You also have this thing called Lightning Quick Action Panel that you can put in your HTML that is like, if you click something, you can pop up and you can pop up like a modal and do different things. So there are two different types of quick actions: the screen quick action, and that will give you a UI. But then there's a headless quick action, which will run LWC JavaScript, and it's kicked off by the invoke method. You can navigate somewhere, you can dispatch a toast, or I guess different like events. So the LMS is the Lightning messaging service, where other what's it called, controls can receive the event and do something, or you could call Apex and kick off a process or update a record or something like that. So let's see, I guess we go straight to the demo. I'm going to walk you through the code. I'm going to show you how you make the quick action and add it to the page. And I have made, I believe, 2 examples. One is a screen that we can look at. The other one is a headless example. So let's just get right to the code. Okay. This is the example of a headless quick action. So you can see there's nothing in the HTML. The metadata is really important to configure your quick action correctly. So you see how there's a Lightning record action. And then this type is action, which means headless. If it's a screen, it will look like this, screen action. And part of the reason I wanted to present this, because it seems a little bit straightforward, but I learned the hard way that you can't switch between types. You actually have to delete and re-add. So just make sure when you create your action, you choose the right action type up front. Let's look at the headless one first. So you can see what I've done. I made a navigation action, and you get the record ID, and that's a bug. And so you can get the record ID from an API property, and then when the quick action is clicked, the invoke call starts. So for this one, we're going to navigate to a list of related contacts. Okay, so this is called quick action headless. And then let's look at a screen. So I made a little screen, and remember, I told you got to use this Lightning quick action panel. And I guess that's the title, emergency question. Yeah. You'll see it when it works, but what I do is I have a message and use properties that come from the JavaScript here to show the account name. And I have two buttons. So if you click no, it will handle the no. There's a whatever button. So you say whatever, and then it will redirect to contacts. And the code behind it, you can see I've imported a lot of stuff. Like I pull the record in with the UI record API. I have a toast event so that I think if you click no, you get a toast that says, yeah, fine. Okay. And then this, I want you to see this import. This is really important. Close action screen event. So since you're showing a screen, you need to make sure you close it before you navigate or before you, or if you're done, whatever you're doing in this screen, you need to fire that close action screen event so that the screen will disappear. And one thing I found out is that if you don't close the screen and then you navigate away, as you can see here, if I click whatever, it's going to close the screen. But when I first made it, this wasn't here. And when I navigated to the contact list and navigated back, the screen was still open. So it keeps that state. If you click no here, you can see I fire an event that says fine. So that's the code, pretty simple. And now I'll show you what you have to do to get this working. So I've put these on account. Let's zoom in a little bit. And you'll see in my actions, I have these two here. I've already made them, just to keep this presentation short and sweet. But you can see what it looks like. The action type is Lightning Web Component. And then you can see you can choose screen or headless, but this is the headless quick action. This is the one that will just navigate to the contacts. And I've called it, or I guess cases. Maybe it should be contacts. Anyway, I think it does go to contacts. So I should have called it open contacts. And then this is my quick screen. So if we look at how this was made, just like the other one, and just remember, I always like to pick a label type, but the best thing to do is click none, select none, so that you can give it a label that will display on your quick action button. Because once you pick one of these, you lose the ability to have a custom label. All right, so those are my two actions, and then you need to add them to your Lightning page. So let's go to our sales app and pick a record. So if we look at the page, I guess there are two different ways to do it. So I think I did this with the page layouts, but if you're not familiar with dynamic actions, now might be a good time to upgrade and use the dynamic action. So this is nice because you can conditionally show buttons. I'm working in a classic environment now, and there are issues where buttons are always displayed. So you'll go to a page and then the page has to tell you you're not allowed to go to the page. Dynamic actions are great because you can conditionally show different buttons and actions based on profile or whatever you want. But you can see that I've added these in the page layout so they show up here. And the first one, let's just click this open cases, which I think opens contacts, but you can see that navigated to the contacts page. And then the last one is quick screen. Here's my emergency question. Do I like this account? Let's just click no first, because I don't think this will navigate away. So there you go. There's your toast event. And this time, yeah, do I like it? I don't know, whatever. Let's just look at their contacts. And that navigates to contacts. So I'll make sure this goes out to everybody because it has a link to the documentation. It's really straightforward and simple. Make sure you import that close action screen event, or you won't be able to close the screen, or you can navigate back and it'll still be popped up. And be sure to close before you navigate. And as I mentioned before, you cannot change the type from action to screen action. You have to delete. You also can't change it from a quick action to a regular LWC component. It's a bit of a pain. So just keep that in mind. It's a bit cumbersome to change types once you've made a quick action. And then they have an example in the documentation, but there's this idea that if you flag with a property in the LWC code that a headless action is executing, then you can prevent multiple requests while one is executing. So make sure you look at the documentation and see the best practices for making these. And I forgot my thank you slide. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate that. That was very cool. Now that we're done Nathan plussing, it's time to chill with Meighan. Boris, did you have a question? I saw you went off mute. Probably take a quick question.
No. I just was sneezing because of the allergies.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right, Meighan, are you there? You should be able to take over, control the screen.
Sorry, I was trying to find the Zoom window. I've got too many things open. All right. Hi, everybody. How's it going? So happy to have you here. Today, we are going to be talking about one of my most favorite things in the world, Slack. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And we'll go into this one first. And I'm just going to make it present mode. All right. So yes, we've got that beautiful setup for Slack in the background. And just going through. So Slack has been near and dear to me for quite some time. Shameless plug, I run a Slack workspace for real-time help on Salesforce 24/7 globally, Ohana Slack. We started as about 100 people, and we eventually became 100 people, and I was like, whoa, this is awesome. This is like as big as we're gonna get. Well, now we're getting close to 6,000 people. And over the, since we started that workspace in 2017 until now, I slowly got to know Slack more and more and became more and more of a fan of it each time I played with it. And what we're gonna end up doing today is, first of all, we're gonna do a lovely intro. Then we're gonna review the Slack workspace. What is it, how to use it, etc. Then we're gonna talk about apps. Then we'll actually jump into one of the apps that I'm working on. We're gonna make some adjustments. We're gonna talk about publishing apps. Then we're gonna go over where you can find apps, and then we'll have the Q&A session so we can have some questions and answers going on. All right, so introduction, number one. Hi, everybody. I'm Meighan Brodkey. I am no longer a practice manager. I should have edited that slide. I'm a technical architect and delivery manager for Accenture now. I started there in May. It's been very exciting. It's a great opportunity, lots of super cool projects. I'm also a Salesforce MVP. I run Seattle Women in Tech. I volunteer with Meredith, very similar to our lovely Jade here. I also am a Trailblazer mentor. I have some mentees that are just people that I've met in the community that are mentees. I am also the quote unquote, and you can tell that this came out around Game of Thrones time, the mother of Ohana Slack and our solo admin. And then I have over 15 years in the ecosystem. I'm a community cloud specialist, gotten very into AI over the past couple of years as well. I have over 500 Trailhead badges now. And chances are, if it is something with Salesforce and there's the opportunity for me to learn about it, I'm gonna at least try or check it out. Over the past 15 years, I've watched us go from having no ability to write code on the platform to being able to have custom code to the S controls going away. That's for you, Mike. To now where we are with having flow and all these declarative options that we're just ideas back then that have come to fruition and have made Salesforce so much more user-friendly. And now this concept of Slack. So one thing that happened right after Slack became purchased by Salesforce, and I remember this headline, is Benioff was in an interview and he says, Slack is going to be the new face of Salesforce. And we're going to go with a Slack first stack. Whoa. Like they're redoing everything related to Salesforce for a Slack first stack. That to me is mind blowing and so cool. And I must read that article at least once a week because I'm a dork like that and I bring it up all the time and I've got to reread it. But I'll make sure to share that link out as well. But in reading that, it just made me think, so Slack, what is it? First of all, Slack's a great form of communication. It is the way that Salesforce, it is the way that pretty much most businesses that aren't using Microsoft Teams communicate. You're able to have individual messages back and forth. You can talk about your project. You can talk about your company. You can have private groups called private channels. You can have public channels. And then you can invite multiple people to join your conversations as you go through. Slack has the lovely logo of the hashtag. I told the story about a hashtag in a cloud on my Twitter and about how they found each other and then they lived happily after. It was beautiful. And it was the day that Salesforce purchased Slack and was able to make this come true. And now we're working on this whole Slack first idea. So let's take a look at a workspace and see what this UI is going to end up, or what is this UI of Slack and what do we have that we can play with? So this is your Slack workspace. You'll notice though, one thing that kind of drives me nuts about Slack, and I mentioned this during our little chat session, you can get signed up for a bajillion different workspaces and you've got to keep logging into every single one of them and it drives me crazy. I only have a few of them on my work computer, but as you can imagine on a personal computer, that really can start to grow and grow. If this group has a Slack, that group has a Slack, this event got a Slack, your work has a Slack, they get crazy. Hopefully one day they'll solve this issue. But here are the ways that you can jump between the different groups that you're part of. And of course, the band is always right where I want to click. And I am on this Windows machine that doesn't know how to click right. Oh, 1 second, I'm going to pause my share. Hold on. My gosh. And it just makes Slack ginormous. Maybe we'll do it that way. Actually, I think I'm just, there we go. All right, so back into Slack. Here we go. And I'm going to jump back over to this one. Okay. Slack has done a number of things within here, and you'll notice within your different channels, you have the ability to do a slash and have these items come up. These are parts of your different Slack apps. You have your shortcuts and you have your commands. Both of them are available in any apps that you are making as well. But just to kind of highlight those, some of these are available within the bar for when you go into the lightning bolt. And these are your shortcuts. In addition, the other shortcuts that you have available, and this all makes sense when we get to the app, I promise you, are over within your actual conversations on the 3 dots. And you'll have some here. These don't have to be the same. One of the apps that we're going to be editing today actually shows you that we're going to do one that does /spam. Well, we don't want to say that a whole channel is spam. I mean, yes, it could happen, but we usually want to just flag a message. So you have the ability to distinguish where those shortcuts are going to end up going. Another big part of Slack that has recently come out is this concept of Slack Connect. Slack Connect lets you connect with outside companies within your Slack. So as someone in consulting that has worked on multiple projects throughout the past years, we're always looking for a way to communicate with our clients. I gotta say, email is my nemesis. I took it to heart when Benioff said, "Yes." Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your screen might be frozen. All I see is still the Meighan community
it's
Slack
supposed
window.
to say, oh, there we go. Wow, I didn't even get to show you guys those other things. So here we are in Slack Connect. I'll really quick jump back over. Thank you, Paul. This is where you have your shortcuts. Thank you, Nathan. Good catch. Here I'm rambling on, thinking I'm showing you.
I was going to send you a message on Slack, but I was nervous.
Right? You so should have. So we have the messages here. These ones are your shortcuts for within an actual channel. Then these ones here are your shortcuts within the app. And then when I go like voila and do my // these are our commands. So that's what's going to make sense when we go into our app now that you can actually see it. Ta-da! And then over in Slack Connect. So I don't have anything set up here at Slack Connect, but I got to say this is super cool. We used this at my last company where we did have Slack. Right now I'm at a Teams place. But it gave us the ability to have our customers come into our project, but we didn't have to share anything with them besides that one channel where we wanted them to see it. And then we could have our internal channel about the project too, and they'd never know what we were talking about. Huge. Oh my gosh, having to have your clients become as responsible as you are so that they have to respond like in the same time you have to respond, and there's direct messaging available. So big. Now there always have to be boundaries too. It does seem like it can be something that can become overwhelming and overstepping, especially with people having that much access to you, which is why boundaries are important with Slack. Making sure you turn off notifications instead of do not disturb, huge. I went to a session with Slack, and they were doing like a webinar on intro to Slack, and it was talking about how anyone inside of Slack can make a Slack app and install it in some org. As a Salesforce person, this terrified me. I'm sitting here going, I'm sorry, you're telling me my user can go out there and make an app, just install it without asking me? Oh my God, I was freaking out, absolutely freaking out. But, you know, Slack is very different than Salesforce in that way. They want it to be an open forum. They expect people to be able to do their own thing. Their workflows aren't limited like our workflows. Workflows in Slack are almost like an app. They give you the ability to do automation declaratively. You can set up, you know, a schedule between when your messages happen. You can set up a screen that people have to answer or respond to. You know, it's very much similar to doing a very teeny tiny flow or doing an actual workflow rule. So the idea though that everyone's supposed to do these, not in our standard vocabulary, not in our regular everyday mindset of Salesforce people. It is something that either Slack is going to have to change or we are going to have to get over. I am not sure which way that one is going to go. I don't know if anyone else has heard very much about that, but they really like the idea of keeping it open so users can make their own stuff. Now, when I sit here and I think about making an app, and I'm going to pull that screen up and switch my share to pay attention this time to whether or not I unpause it. So let's do that. All right. They do have some great ways to make apps declaratively. So I'm grabbing that screen. So we'll go straight into that one. Let's do this. What's it called? I'm going to skip ahead to this. All right. And then switching share. And make me log in. I think it's this one now. Oh, that's my desktop, not that one. This one. Sorry. All right, so we're going to do right here. We're going to type in Ohana Slack.
So I can, it looks like it work with outside people, Ohana Slack. I don't know if you moved on to another screen.
I did. It should be on the Google Chrome. That's what it starts with that.
It is not. It looks like you're just sharing the app,
I'm going to stop.
Ohana, as opposed to
I'm going to stop and share because I changed my share.
Okay.
So let me stop it and reshare it. Maybe Slack should be the pain. Or Zoom is being a pain. There we go. Not Slack. Oh my gosh, I never said such a thing. All right, so here we are, which is going to take us in. And then with that, this is the block kit builder. This is a great head start for your Slack apps and where Slack will direct you for how to build your UI. It's pretty cool. It's a lot like using the flow builder. So you will notice that off to the side, you have all these different things you can pull over from plain text, which is no images, like literally plain text. Markdown, which lets you actually have images, lets you have boldness, etc. And then you can also have things like your fields coming over. So when you start working with Slack and Salesforce, they already have this UI for you to use to build out the front end. And then you can start bringing over the data with the existing API as well. We'll get over to that too. But by connecting your information and already having this here for you to have a head start, it's not like we've got to build out components. It's not like we've got to build this whole new interface. It is literally a click and drag situation to bring something over onto the screen. The other thing that's great is for me, so I'm not a huge developer. I'm an architect. Coding makes me really bored sometimes. And so what I end up doing is going into these little templates we have here. And if I can't figure out how to do something, I'll open one of these up on another window, figure out how they connected it. Because on the back end, let's actually open this one. You'll notice that after you make you do one of your clicks, they will show you what the actions look like. So how you are supposed to set that up, except for using your code. This was huge for me, getting to know how to build these apps. As somebody that wasn't sure what I was doing entirely back in the day when I first started with these, huge head start. They also have these great starter kits for making your apps. And those were big for me as well. But using these and then going into their we're actually gonna go to this level, just go through this and then click the button. They also have all these big sample apps that you can do. So over here on the side, you will notice under the block kit that I just tried to click on, and I did not. Now I'm clicking all over. Here are the shortcuts I mentioned before. But going down into that block kit and scrolling, they have a whole slew of app templates in addition that you can get to from here. This looks like the same screen. This is not the one I meant to click on, sorry. There's one that is right above this that does step-by-step instructions. They're called, it's the link that says admin apps. I'm not going to dig for it, but it's apps for admin. Right in here, you'll be able to click through. It tells you how to set everything up. One of the things I recommend starting with is the fact that you get your choice of going with JavaScript, with going with Java, with going with Python, or using Slack's idea of Bolt. So again, being a non-developer that was trying to get to know how to do all of this, my first app I ended up building in Java, in JavaScript, and in Python, so I could figure out how are they all different and what exactly am I doing. Now they have two different types of apps. You're going to hear about your regular apps that are just an app that does something but will not be responding, such as with a messages response. Then you'll hear about your bots that do the message responses. Both of them are set up entirely the same way. The only difference when you go into your apps, and we'll go to our Ohana Slack app, which is just one of the fun apps that I've been working on here forever. Okay, I guess like a year. You'll notice underneath our event subscriptions, this is where we end up deciding if we end up having a bot or not. If we put the bot codes in there, we end up having a bot. That's all it takes. If you don't include them, you don't have a bot, and your stuff can still do things, but just none of the things the bot would do. The way that you give your bot all of its powers, or your app all of its powers, is to literally go in and say, these are the different things it needs to be able to respond to. And then underneath your interactivity and shortcuts, you get to write them out in here. And then over in your the other half of your app, which is where you're going to get that information from the payload account, is where you put them together. So to see how they come together, we have Glitch. So Glitch is one of the super fun sites that apparently a lot of people used to use, but then they stopped using, like so. So this is where Slack has you building out your, I typed it wrong, I'm gonna pause my share because I know I'm doing it because I'm moving stuff around. All right, which is where you can build your Slack apps out. And we're gonna take a look at how some of those look. There we go. Now I'll share. And how they all come together. So, all right. you'll notice here, they give you everything you need for some of these frameworks. They walk you through a README. They give you the instructions on what you need to set up and how. And then literally they can be set up with as easy as go and make the app, add this one permission, then add this URL for whatever the app is when you clone this. And all of a sudden, you've got an app that can now greet people when they join. Black apps are not that scary. I think that's why I was so willing to start playing with them and not get so intimidated. But at the same time, you can also over-engineer them and get yourself into some trouble. I've done that too. I tried to make an app that did everything. I was like, it's not hard. I'll just add everything I can think of in here. Horrible idea. Just like in Salesforce, you don't want to over-engineer. So you'll notice here we have a clone that I have done of that exact same app. And so 30 minutes, we're doing okay at a time. We'll actually go through creating this app together. But it's actually within your files here. This is where you're actually going to paste those values for those URLs with your shortcuts, with your commands. This is also where you paste your UI. It's literally a copy and paste from what it's giving you for the UI. And then you're going to replace the URL spaces with the URLs for your app. So, nice, easy one. All right. So this one, again, we're going to be having something where somebody sends a message with app bot name, and then it's going to do the echo emoji when somebody reacts to the message with an emoji. And then with that, so we have to do how to configure it, reviewing the Slack API. And then maybe we do this though in real life, since we just went over those things on a high level, are to go to this button here. It's going to bring up those apps that you have. I warn you now, if you build an app here, this is going in production. This is not going in a sandbox. So what you want to make sure you do is have a workspace that you set up to be your sandbox. So we'll go in here and we'll notice that I already have a sandbox org. And we'll do this one. And the same URL. And it's going to give us all of our other orgs. Sorry, something keeps beeping at me. I don't know why. I hope it's not my phone exploding. And then we'll go into our own HANA static test org. For your test environments, I recommend just grabbing a free org. Unless you are doing, working in an enterprise org that has additional features, there's really no sense in going into, purchase a sandbox or to purchase a second org to play with. They do include the sandbox with the enterprise orgs. Pro does not have sandboxes. Something to keep in mind. All right, now it's going to launch our test item in a separate window. We don't really care. We don't need that thing right now. So we're just going to go figure out how to drag the Zoom bar somehow by stopping sharing. If I can't use this thing without a mouse. And then I'm going to go back to sharing again. I'm sorry, they gave me a Windows machine at work. I still have not figured out how to use this trackpad. Okay, so jumping back to our app. We have to create our app and give it a name. So for that, we jump over here. We're going to do a refresh of the page. Now you'll notice we're in my test org. Plus we also have my regular org there. We'll do create new app. Let's for this button. Now you have two options. So the second option recently came up where you can actually build it from a manifest. This is actually pretty cool. I did this with one of my other apps where I took the file that came with it and I just dropped it in. Everything was ready to go for me. It was like not even half of the effort of building an app. Super fun. Highly recommend playing with it. But since this only has like 3 steps, we're going to build from scratch. We'll throw this in the test org. We're going to call this Greet Bot Dallas. All right. Yes. And then we're going to create our app. All right. So
it gives you a review of the items that are available to you. sorry, my phone just randomly lost power. All right, so we're going to walk through. And on this side for our readme, we want to go to the bot user and make sure that our bot user is always on and has a name. Jump over here. You'll notice it doesn't actually say bot user. It's underneath app hope. And then you'll scroll down. You'll make sure that your, oh, it's because we haven't done it. So we review our scopes to add the token. We have to add the bot powers before we can actually do that, install it, and then it lets us turn that on. It's one of the tricky things about the ones with the bots. So we want to add the event subscription with, so what is ours? Ours is this one. Copy URLs underneath here. Okay, click long enough, this would be great. We'll copy, we click out, we go down, and it is /Slack/events. We go here, and we'll go up to where we have our events in the event subscriptions. And it's going to give us an option to turn this on. And that's where we put in our URL /Slack/events. And then we'll I'm gonna get rid of the Slack. I bet you that's what it is. Either that or it's event singular. Come on, team. Just tell me when I'm wrong. It's okay. And it's still not working. Wow, I'm really having a great time with this now in front of everyone. We're gonna just go to one that's already made. I'm so sorry.
The demo gods are
Going live,
angry.
right?
It happens.
Oh man. So here we are on one of those apps that already exists, and we can take a look at where this URL is and how everything fits together. So this is Desert Denim Toast. This is also known as Ohana Slack. So that Ohana Slack app has some pretty fun superpowers because it's the app I went overboard on. So it has the ability to do /spam. It has the ability to reach out for help. It does a greeting to new users. And then it also has the ability to put in a ticket because that was the first thing I put in there. And then I couldn't figure out how to get it out, to be completely honest. But now that I've gotten better at them, I mean, I could probably just give it a shot. But I started this app back in 2018 and it finally went, I finally got it live for the first version in 2020 in the regular org. And it's been super helpful, I gotta say. One of the things that Slack apps are probably best at are keeping admins up to date. And we're already almost at 6 o'clock. Okay, so jumping through, I'm gonna jump back to my slides really quick and see where else I was. I'm sorry. The next thing we were gonna do was go over where you can find the information. How today's going fast. All right, so I have a series of links and I'm gonna pull this up and do quip. And I'm going to drop this link into the chat because it's a public document. Information about Slack apps, how to build them, where they are, what to do with them. So there is there is a quip document that I put together that goes over everything from the Trailhead modules to the partner learning caps to that actual article with Benioff. And then into some of the individual Slack items that are available out there.
Was that the one you shared on Twitter last week, Megan?
It is, yeah.
I had trouble getting to that.
I will make sure that it's made. I will test it now on the call.
Okay. And about 5 minutes ago, your audio changed pretty bad, and there's now a hiss, a really high-pitched hiss that's coming in with your voice.
One second, hold on.
I don't know if that's something you can change. Yeah, and it looks like that's shared with the Salesforce MVPs, but okay.
my headphones. Is that better?
Ooh, much better.
Oh, good, good.
Much,
Okay.
much better.
Oh my goodness, that's my laptop sound. Isn't that beautiful? You know, what's funny is I hear that hiss too, but I hear it constantly. I'm pretty sure my laptop's going to explode. But let's just keep it going that way so we can get a Mac, okay?
You might have my old Accenture laptop.
Oh my God,
Mine
that's
was like that.
terrifying. And does it not have a trackpad that works? Like your trackpad just sits there sometimes?
I'll talk to you later about how to get a
Yeah.
Mac at Accenture.
Okay, thank you.
I can
There
help
are
you with
ways.
your PC. But
You
Oh
need
my
a.
God, I don't want to learn PC. I want a Mac.
There are ways. I'll help you.
Okay. Oh my
later.
God, thank you. Thank you. Let's chat after this. So really quick, jumping back for locations on where to get information. If you haven't been to the Partner Learning Camp, oh my gosh, you are missing out on so much cool stuff. So the Partner Learning Camp is via partners.salesforce.com. All it takes to join partners.salesforce.com is to sign up for partners.salesforce.com. Then you get access to all the partner resources. There are so many. And the Partner Learning Camp is like a trailhead for partners. And as somebody that happens to be a file hoarder and I have a document problem, I have collected on Slack all of their information about how to construct a project team, the document templates for building out roles, the templates for building out channels, templates for building out your code, templates for planning your apps and storyboarding them. Oh my gosh, and they're all available in the modules inside the Partner Learning Camp. I highly recommend checking it out. It is fantastic. All right. I have gone in and I have listed each one of those modules right here so you can see what they are. And they also have the links to them. And here are some of those other resources that I mentioned. So everything from how to set up Slack, there's 2 new certifications out. No, they're not available in Web Assessor, but they're available via Slack. And here are the links. One is to be Slack Admin Certified. One is to be Slack Developer Certified. I have asked at work again for these links, so I really hope that I can get a voucher. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it myself. I just can't wait. I'm so excited. I want those certifications because A, I love that hashtag and all the pink, but I want to hang it on my wall and just be like, I know Slack. Finally, there's something that I have gotten done that makes me feel like I know how to write code, even though it's Slack. But it makes me feel like a hero. Like I saved my own day. It's awesome. They also have training on Slack. So there is training on the Trailhead for Slack. There's training on the Partner Learning Camp for Slack. And there's training on Slack Help for Slack, all of which are additional modules. They don't overlap. So there is so much out there that you can learn, and then multiple examples too, so that you can really start to get stuff through your head, especially if you're just learning. Extremely helpful. I have also put together a trail mix on Salesforce called a Slack It To Me, which goes through a number of the Slack modules, and they just added projects. Oh my gosh, now we get to go hands-on. There's also a link here to find out about the Heroku apps that you can build for bots with Slack. If you're in the Heroku, we were talking about dynos earlier, you know, it's one of those things where it's so easy. And you can use one of their like getting started templates, which is pretty much a blank app. And then they also have a blank bot. You just press the buttons and then you can build your stuff in it, but it gives you that outline. So you don't have to build that outline every single time. Then here is that beautiful, the Stack will be a Slack first article with Benioff that I keep talking about. Made my day. And then we also have Salesforce on Slack. And then we just found out about the new article, Paul. I'm going to grab that out of the chat that came out. So there was a new post today on Slack on developers.salesforce.com. And I guess this Zoom window, I swear, dark mode makes everything look the exact same. But yeah, oh, it's because you guys are all in the chat. But it is just fantastic. And I was screening through it and I'm like, huh, this is like the outline of what we were going to do. How crazy. It even goes into the block kit. So I'm going to drop that in here. And we just have that new article on it. But I keep adding to this. And I will keep adding to it. It's also shared with the user group leaders. It's a public document, shared out with whoever. So let's do a share, and let me copy and drop it into chat. And then we can test Paul really quick to make sure everybody can see it. And this is supposed to be, oh, I got to jump into my other username. Hold on. The one that says who it is actually shared with. Switching like this. You can tell I have a problem just logging into everything and holding on to documents and never keeping them all in the same place. Which is why I'm always like, I gotta find it.
Busy lady.
I have about a terabyte of Salesforce files from the past 15 years in my OneDrive. It's so sad. I'm like, I wonder if anyone's ever gonna look at these. I found some red cube documents today and I was like, huh, way to go, Megan. Go. I saved it again. And we show conversation. Yeah, anybody can do messages and comments. I'm fine with that. And copy and dropping it in. Okay. I think it's because I had moved it folders. All right. And I was supposed to say everyone.
Yeah, what I see right there says link sharing is on, so anyone from Salesforce MVPs can use this link.
Yeah, and it just said to everyone before that when I did the switch thing.
Okay.
When I go into link settings. Yeah.
Yeah, you must be signed in to view this document.
You got to sign into Quip no matter what.
And it says sign in using your @salesforcemvps.com email address.
So I don't know how to do it without, I mean, I made this public and it's in my personal email, which is what's really weird. It's not even under my MVP one. It's in my personal folder.
No worries. We can pick the,
we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. I don't mean to disrupt your jam.
The link, because I'm not going to get rid of it. Yeah, we'll figure out how to make the link work. And then I know we're down to our last 10 minutes. I wanted to leave some minutes for questions. And then Paul, I was going to leave you possibly a minute for anything else you had left. But one thing I want to say before I stop, because I always have to say one last thing. I definitely recommend playing with Slack. Get your hands out there, make an app, build an app, edit an app. Play with the templates, or at least read their help, play with some of the trailheads. You will realize that it's easy, it's fun, and it's the future of Salesforce. So we've all got to get used to it. You're going to have so much fun with it. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I can't wait. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think it was Melanie Head, who is a local MVP here, shared something yesterday or today about Tableau and Slack integrations. Reporting and collaboration are the next thing. So yeah, no, I think you are not wrong that this is.
And you can set that up right now. So the fact that you can do so much reporting, you can report on your Salesforce from Slack. You can create leads from Slack. You can also connect Flow to Slack with existing Flow actions. Oh my God, there's so much out there already. Yeah, and it's just going to be more.
Cool. Yeah, more for another day. All right. Well,
questions?
Cool.
Anyone else have any great things to say about Slack?
Raise your hand if you can.
Oh.
Well, go ahead. Yeah, go right ahead, Nathan.
Okay, I have a question. How did you do the multi-select pick list bot? Is that considered? I love that.
I did that with the it is the that's just your Slack response for your bot thing, where it yells at you for talking about MSPs all the time and person accounts.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a bot response. Totally declarative.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's in the and it's in actually the help area for your when you log in. So if we go to the one that I was logging in, let's go to this one.
And just so everybody understands, if you are on Ohana Slack and you say multi-select pick list or person account, you get a warning from a bot that says, multi-select pick list is a 4-letter word. Or
yes, I was about to ask why you were saying that.
That is so great.
I also have it where if you say it enough times, I do the Steve Moe quote about how you're going to club a baby seal every time you use a multi-select pick list, and it shows the gift.
I just thought it'd be cool if you had time to.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's actually so easy to do it too. So you're just going to go in and you're going to go to your managed members area, and that's when I'm going to switch my screen by turning it off and resharing, because we learned we can't do it the other way. There we go. And then what you can do is over here underneath your customize, you have the ability to use your Slack bot. And you can set up all sorts of phrases in here. And the one for Ohana Slack, so I'll actually make this the Ohana Slack one so you can see it. So first Ohana, I keep always wanting to write Ohana Slack every time. There we go. You'll notice that all it does is say, stop spinning. Yeah, person accounts, you better think a little bit more, they're evil. And using multiple Slack text lists is kicking a puppy, is akin to kicking a puppy.
Nice. Can I demo it?
Oh man.
Well,
So yeah.
You have Ohana Slack open?
I do.
Be careful.
Okay.
Nathan's
put it
about
in
to send you a
general.
live message.
All right,
I
so
put it
will
in
jump-
general under your post tonight, so you can
And
show
then
everybody.
I will jump over to Ohana Slack and I'll show my screen.
Don't forget to switch windows, Megan.
Yep,
You're
I'll
still on the
switch it, I'll
website.
switch it.
Okay. Okay.
I was clicking. I only click so fast. I'm on a Windows machine. All right, so I'm on general at Ohana Slack. I don't see your message yet.
So it's right there under 6 replies. I threaded it,
Oh, you threaded it.
of course.
Ah, thank you for using threads. There you go. You'll see here, using multi-select pick lists is akin to kicking puppies.
There we go.
So hopefully we have all learned not to use the multi-select pick list. We all love puppies, right? Like, lesson learned. We're going junction object and checkboxes. Oh man. So yeah, it's so much fun. I've really started to play around with this thing quite a bit. And before I started, really getting into the idea of the app side, the declarative options with Slack are pretty cool too. I have about 2,000 terms that I'm monitoring for like a blacklist. And one of the updates to that Ohana Slack bot is actually going to prevent people from posting. It auto deletes them. But for right now, I just get a monitor for all those words and I get a special notification when they happen, all declaratively with Slack out of the box. So lots of options available out there for administrators too. So yeah, I got to say, just having that many channels and that many people, think about being Salesforce and trying to run 6,000 people yourself. It gets to be busy. We get about 1,800 messages on a quiet day and about 10,000 messages on a busy day. So yeah, there's a reason we go through that data so fast on the free version. Yeah. All right. And any other questions in the last 7 minutes?
That's great. Anyone, anything else? Thank you, Moyez, Nathan, and Megan. That's a amazing information-packed session tonight.
And thank you all for having me here. I had so much fun and I love talking about this stuff. We'll figure out how to get that link going. And then I've got some of the sample code that is linked in there too. So if anybody wants to check out some of those apps and build them up themselves, the Slack templates are there.
All right, well, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll send that out. We'll at least put that on the Twitter. You can find it there. And then thank you for all of our newcomer guests. I hope you got something out of it and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you all.
But yeah, we'll look at you,
We'll stay in
talk
touch.
to you next month and we'll have Jitendra. Maybe we'll pack some other mini sessions in there as well with as much stuff has been going on in the community. So
And if you're
Talk
not
to you
reading
soon.
his blog, it's amazing. So yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Shannon.
Megan.
Take care.
See you guys soon. I'm Moyez.
Thanks, bye, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Thanks so
Good.
much. This is so
Ah.
much fun. I loved it. It was like the one thing, the link doesn't work. The link doesn't work.